What is the background story of Fuzu?
So Fuzu was created to bridge the ever-growing gap between job seeker, or career builders as we call them, and employers on the African continent. So by 2030, Africa will have the largest global workforce with over 1.1 billion people. Yet the access to opportunity is an ever-growing problem. For the career builder, there are no jobs out there, or there are significant barriers to access those jobs. And on the employer side, Africa has some of the largest and fastest growing economies in the world, yet finding top talent that's a good fit for their organization is an ever-growing challenge. So that's where Fuzu exists, and our job is to match the two together, or bridge the gap between the two.
What is the inspiration behind the creation of Fuzu?
So there is a deep and rich story behind that, but you can trace it back to when our founder, Yusi, was working in Kenya with Nokia. He was looking for a driver, and he posted a job advert and was inundated with applications. I think thousands of people from a variety of different disciplines, whether it be marketers, sales professionals, chefs even, you name it, were applying for this job as a driver. And I think that created a realization that, you know, there is a significant challenge for people to find work in Kenya and Africa as a whole. And that really is the inspiration behind where Fuzu came from.
What is an interesting fact about Fuzu that many people don't know about?
So off the cuff, Fuzu, you know, I grew up in Kenya and I'm born and raised here. I never knew that Fuzu is a Swahili word that means to qualify. And I don't think, considering I grew up here, I never knew that fact. But what's really interesting and inspiring is that of our 1.6 million users that we've acquired over the last number of years, we actually have equal representation of men and women, so 50%, 50-50. In a market or in parts of the world where generally there is a gender gap between opportunities for men and women. So pretty inspiring that men and women are equally represented on our platform.
How has technology made it easier for you to get access to top talent in the region?
So firstly in scalability and reach. So smartphone adoption and penetration across Kenya is at 70%, and it's expected to get to similar levels across the continent by 2025. So through mobile apps and through mobile web browsers, we are able to reach hundreds of millions of people on the continent at a click of a button, and that's been really one big enabler that technology has helped us achieve. But secondly, it's advances in AI and machine learning. So something like career progression for our career builders needs to be a highly personable experience or highly personal experience. So whether it's anything to do with upskilling or upskilling suggestions, recommendations on learning, which jobs to apply for, and potentially feedback on the jobs that you are applying for and how you're doing, this needs to be personal to you. And so AI and our ability to read through data, etc., and give you real recommendations at scale has been empowered by AI for the career builder. On the employer side, similarly, like I said earlier, we get thousands of applications per employer or per job out there. And for the employer to filter through that, for them to be able to analyze the different applicants, etc., machine learning and AI with deep analysis of each applicant is only possible through technology.
What are your core values as a company?
We've developed a value framework called the Fuzu Values that we're extremely proud of. It's something that's embedded into our organization, our DNA, and everything that we do, both strategic and on a day-to-day basis. So the 5 values that we kind of adhere to are, we exceed customer expectation, which is all about putting our users first, our clients first, and everything is about them. And we'll go above and beyond to ensure that they receive value. Second is we stand for trust. So trust and transparency is everything in everything that we do, and we do not compromise for anything on that. The third is we are endlessly curious, which means that we constantly believe we are growing. We need to innovate, we need to change, and we need to develop ourselves and go with the flow. The fourth is we succeed together, and that's really all about teamwork and our ability to work as a unit with our team internally as well as with our clients to achieve each other's success. We generally believe that if someone else is succeeding, we're also succeeding in what we do. And the last, which is my favorite, is we eat Mars for breakfast. It's one that I always have to explain, but it's about us and our ambition. We believe that Mars is just another planet. We dream of the stars, we dream of the universe and beyond, and we believe we can get there in terms of our ambition, and we know we can do it.
What is the company culture like?
Okay, so as it should be with any startup, we have to be agile, dynamic, and constantly pushing the boundaries of what we're trying to do and what we want to achieve. And this is ingrained into our culture and into the team's DNA. I can use a lot of fancy words to describe our culture. We're connected, we're autonomous, we're nurturing, we're flexible, and these are true, but really we're just a really fun place to come and work. We have a really young team that's full of energy. I'm actually one of the wazirs in the office, believe it or not. And so yeah, every morning signing on or coming into the office is a really fun and truly unique experience.
What is your opinion of the Great Resignation that certain parts of the world experienced during the pandemic?
So this is a really interesting one. The pandemic has clearly had an impact on every industry, and HR and people management is certainly at the center of it. To be honest, I actually prefer the word great reshuffle, because in hindsight and a lot of the data that's coming out now is that what actually happened was people during the pandemic and various lockdowns, both in Kenya and across the world, were able to sort of take a look at their work, and how they felt about their work environment, how they were valued by their employers, whether they were on a fair enough pay that they felt that they should be on, and various other things that then they realized that actually I'm not happy where I am at, and so resigned from their current employment, hence the term Great Resignation. But inevitably everyone had to sort of feed for themselves or fend for themselves and feed their families, provide for their families, and so then went out looking for work that was more in line with what they realized they were looking for. But what's really interesting from the Great Resignation from a Kenyan context is that it has also created within certain sectors or certain demographics a similar awareness that a job is more than just a paycheck. We've certainly, as Fuzu, seen an increase in churn across a variety of different industries and employers, and employees citing reasons like bad culture or poor benefits as the reason for why they resigned and are looking for new employment. This is quite unheard of. A couple of years ago, you wouldn't find reasons like this for people leaving their work, and it's forcing even our Kenyan employers to really think about their sort of HR policies and people retention strategies completely afresh.
The future of work is exciting. With the increased popularity of remote working, what is your projection of how it will evolve a few years from now? So
I'm pretty sure that unless you're working in a physically required environment, like if you're a cashier at a bank or you work on the factory line in a manufacturing business, then remote work is here to stay. Whether it be fully remote or some hybrid model of some days physical, some days remote, I think every employer will be forced to incorporate remote working into their organizational policies and processes. I do believe that there is a certain dynamic that we lose when we're remote, whether that be in just connecting with people, trying to create an organizational culture, and even, for example, when you're hiring a new cohort of employees, it's very difficult for people to get a flavor of the company they're working for or to sort of build that deep connection with their team if it's not done on a personal level. So, for example, at Fuzu, we've adopted a hybrid model where we work 2 days or 3 days a week in the office, and then the rest is remote. And so I don't think remote work is going to be a full migration to fully remote, but certainly a hybrid model for a lot of employers is something that is inevitable. I think you also asked for a prediction of where this is going to go. I think what's really interesting here is that as employers make certain jobs and certain functions remote workable, that we have a global labor force that may come out of this. If, for example, a company makes its secretary or receptionist function remote, what's stopping a UK company hiring a Kenyan receptionist? And so I think as the world evolves, at the moment there are certain policies, regulations, taxation, things like that don't allow this to happen as easily as it could be. But I think as the sort of remote work and remote function grows, then we'll start seeing sort of labor forces that traverse across national boundaries.
What does having an office in a co-working space mean to your business?
So co-working, or why co-working? I think largely because of the flexibility it provides. We're a startup. 3 years ago we were a team of 20. Today we're a team of 45, just within my team. And so co-working gives us the flexibility, gives us the opportunity to just add capacity when needed. So gone are the days of 5-year leases and expensive fit-out costs. When we need more capacity, we have additional desks. We just have to make a phone call to the garage team, and hey presto, we can add 10 more team members when needed.
How has your experience at Nairobi Garage been?
In terms of the experience of working with the team so far, it's been fantastic. We're not location tied. If we're spending a day in the field meeting clients, there are several Nairobi Garage locations across Nairobi that we can work out of. The team are always friendly, whether it be a request for stationery or just a meeting room request. They're at our beck and call to kind of facilitate whatever we need as a company. So it's been fantastic overall.
Parting shot or words of encouragement for business people watching you?
Yeah, so business is tough, and I think you have to develop a pretty thick skin, both as a job seeker, dealing with rejection, etc., and as a business. The COVID pandemic has been tough on everyone in various shapes and forms, and so developing thick skin is really important. I think the pandemic has particularly transformed the HR and people space. And so I think a message to potential employers or entrepreneurs is to really think about HR and your people policies. I think gone are the days where HR is a personnel office tucked away at the back at the end of an organization where people go and complain and disciplinary letters are sent out of. It's now supposed to be or should be a key strategic part of your business, and almost shape a lot of the strategy that the business is focusing on. If you need any help with or any advice on this, or if you just want to chat about the world of HR and people policies, you can find us online at www.fuzu.com, and we are at Nairobi Garage as well. So if you ask anyone, I'm sure they can point you to the Fuzu office.